What is something explicit you would want to anonymously confess?
My first boyfriend, the one I had intimacy with, drew a very detailed and vividly executed nude portrait of me and posted it online, and it got a huge amount of attention. He didn't tell me about it for many years, and I have no idea where that drawing is or how to Google it. I'd really like to find it. I was very hot back then. One time, I accidentally walked in on my grandma and grandpa, and ever since then, I can't look at knitted blankets without shuddering. One time, I met a girl on Tinder, and for several months, we had a completely casual relationship. We both understood that it wouldn't lead to anything serious, but the passion in bed was just incredible. We had such explicit and bold experiments, and we had a lot of fun. Our relationship ended when she moved to another city for work. 2 years later, I saw her at my cousin's engagement party. It turned out she had moved to the city where my cousin lives, and they started dating, got engaged, and got married. When we saw each other, we were both shocked, but we acted like we didn't know each other and swore to never tell my cousin anything. I recently told my wife about this. One time, I pooped on several mirrors because I wanted to see what it looks like when poop comes out of a butt. I was a curious child.
I date and sleep only with women who use wheelchairs, all by mutual consent and on equal terms. No abuse whatsoever. Many people can't accept the idea that a person with a disability has a sex life, or that someone without a disability sleeps with them.
When I was 18 in 2004, I created a dating profile saying that I liked older women. Back then, and even now, I was a quiet guy with a nerdy personality. As expected, for several months, no one paid attention to my profile. But one day, someone messaged me. It turned out that the daughters of a certain woman had created a profile for her. I was too dumb to think I might get scammed. Luckily, they weren't scammers. We met, and despite the huge age gap, I was 18, she was 47, we had a lot in common and ended up having a wonderful relationship. We dated for several years, but eventually she decided to break up with me because some of her family members didn't like that I was so young. A few years ago, I tried to fix my boyfriend's parents' laggy computer. His dad was a pastor at his church. I sat down to figure out where they had downloaded the malware from and noticed in the browser history a ton of searches about how to use vegetables as 18-plus toys. The next day, they asked us to help with their backyard garden. They were growing whole rows of carrots and cucumbers. That day, my boyfriend kept asking why I was so quiet, but I didn't have the courage to tell him why.
When I was 18, I got my first job. I worked as a phone sex operator. This was in the late 90s. I had a special headset and everything. Everything happened strictly over the phone because online chats weren't widely used in the industry yet. We even had mail operators. The company tracked the average call duration, and I was usually at the top of the list. That achievement is still something I'm proud of. I've collected a lot of strange stories from that time. And also, if you've ever ordered a tarot reading through a psychic hotline, chances are you talked to someone from our team who had gotten promoted. We called those people the other side. They literally sat on the other side of the call center.
Literally, just now, I woke up with an upset stomach. While I was sitting on the toilet, I felt like I was about to throw up. I tried to suppress the feeling. Nothing had been coming out of my butt for about a minute already, but I was still sitting on the toilet just in case. Then my throat started rising, so I leaned forward and tried to vomit into the toilet, but the position I was in caused me to massively diarrhea all over the floor. Panicking, I sat back on the toilet and started throwing up on the floor and the bathtub next to me. Now, after I cleaned everything up and took a shower, I feel a bit better. I'm going to lie down. During COVID, I moved back in with my parents. I have the money to move out, but my parents don't mind if I stay and save up. The only reason I still haven't moved out is that I've been seeing a MILF from our neighborhood for over 2 years now, and it's just fucking amazing. Respect to my dog for letting her pet her when we met during a walk.
I want to be shrunk down to tiny size and then have my husband step on me with his bare foot. That's it. That's my whole fantasy. I write erotic stories. During the day, I'm a corporate worker in a suit, and at night, I'm an author of porn fiction. One of the commenters wrote, "Your stories turn me on every single time." It was one of the moments I've been most proud of. I couldn't even share it on my regular social media.
My ex-girlfriend got me into swinging. She met a group of neighbor wives, and shortly after that, she broke up with me. Why, you may ask? She wanted to leave me earlier, but was afraid of hurting my self-esteem. So she decided to get me into the swinging scene so I'd gain confidence with other women and she could leave without worrying about me.
A few years ago, I recorded a fetish video for an acquaintance. He said he rewatched it dozens of times and enjoyed it, but every time he reached the climax, he would stop the video. He said he's never actually watched it to the end, and the video is under 10 minutes long. The fetish was about stuck scenarios. The video turned out especially authentic because that's also one of my own fetishes. This isn't my story. My sister told it to me. One night, she had a terrible nightmare that our mom had died. It was one of those awful dreams where nothing absurd happens and you can't tell it's not real. She woke up in a panic, ran down the hallway in absolute terror, and burst into our parents' room. A bit of context, both of our parents thought the other one had locked the door, and, as it turned out, they had accidentally woken up early for much more pleasant reasons. She didn't catch them doing anything too explicit, but they were both completely naked and in the middle of foreplay. My sister said she was so happy that Mom was alive that she didn't even immediately process what she was seeing. It also helped that the room was dark. She instantly started expressing her relief until our very alive Mom loudly yelled, "Get out of here!" That's how my sister learned the best news in possibly the worst way. Not only was Mom alive, but she also still loved Dad very, very much.
One time, my wife and I were driving through downtown. I got turned on and started touching her. She came so hard that she immediately fell asleep afterward. When we got home, she literally dragged me into the bedroom, and we went at it for hours. I had never been able to last that long before or after, and I finished several times myself. I truly believe that it was that night I got her pregnant. If I hadn't gotten turned on in the car and done what I did, I wouldn't have the son who is right now watching a Mario movie.
I'm 26. One night, I had a dream where I was making love with another woman, and I actually felt pleasure in the dream. Now, I can't shake the desire to give that same kind of pleasure to another girl. But I'm married, and we have 2 kids. A few months ago, my girlfriend broke up with me, and now for the first time in my life, I'm sleeping with multiple women and taking part in different kinds of play. It's fun, it's a new experience, and my confidence in bed has finally gone up. I even feel kinda cool. We were doing it in the back seat of our car with my wife when some guy rode by on a bicycle, looked at us, and gave me a thumbs up. I gave him a thumbs up back, and he rode off. I never told my wife about it. I'm a straight guy who used to stream on webcam sites and jerk off in front of dozens of strangers. Most likely, 95% of my viewers were men. At that time, I had no relationship experience, I had self-esteem issues, and problems with my body image. So the countless compliments, regular viewers, and donation offers were a huge support for me. If I were still single, I would 100% keep doing it. I might have even tried to make money from it. One time, my former coworker and I got drunk, we made out in my car, and I fingered her. She pleasured me too, all on my dash cam. I still rewatch that recording pretty often. Back in the day, I dated a girl with whom I had a very passionate connection. She was incredibly smart, and her piercing gaze literally pinned me in place. After some time, she confessed a deep, intimate desire that turned her on. She wanted to draw something with my blood, like write a poem or something like that. Those piercing eyes of hers suddenly felt creepy to me, and I no longer wanted to sleep next to her. It all ended. Sometimes I think maybe I was lucky to avoid something bad, or maybe I missed out on something cool that day. My morbid curiosity sometimes makes me wonder whether I did the right thing. One night back in 2012, after a wild night out, I was in a deep depression and was thinking about offing myself. I was sitting in my car, parked on a small bridge, crying and humming to myself. At some point, some guys stopped behind me to check if everything was okay. One of them got into my car, and for some reason, I started pleasuring him. His equipment probably saved my life. I never learned his name and never saw him again. One time, I had an erotic dream about caramelized bacon. I woke up at the moment of climax and realized that in the dream, I was literally jerking off while imagining that magnificent caramelized bacon. Apparently, being high on weed, I fell asleep and woke up in a state of absolute blasphemy. Lights on, legs spread, covered in the results of my fantasies about an edible product. This is what happens when you work nights, suffer from a lack of hookups, and love bacon and syrup.
Thank you so much for watching. In the comments under the video, tell us what kind of juicy or honest confession you'd want to make anonymously. And don't forget to check out our other videos. Hugs, bye!